Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. Fight fans worldwide, you've tuned into the number one undisputed boxing podcast today. This is the Boxing Breakdown. Now, your heavy-handed, hard-hitting host, Mark Roxey.
Yes, y'all. What's up, y'all? Welcome to another edition of the Boxing Breakdown. And I am your host, Mr. Mark Roxey. I am here with my partner in crime, Mr. Harold Hunt. What's up, Harold?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, happy holidays. Merry Christmas, brother. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Same to you.
Yeah, and for all of you folks tuning in on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, thank you for being with us. Happy holidays, whatever your holiday is, whatever you celebrate, if you celebrate. Thank you for being with us. And if you don't celebrate, thank you for being with us as well. We are delighted that you are here and you are watching us on YouTube, and we really appreciate that as well. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe below, as well as the notifications, so you know we are live every single time. And today is 2 days until Christmas. Very, very exciting. So this is our holiday edition. Yes, y'all. And thank you for tuning in today. We are going to cover a multitude of topics today because we have not been on because of the holidays. And Mr. Harold Hunt was at the WBC, I think a WBA convention, right? And
yes, Orlando.
And I've been doing all kinds of productions and stuff in the last couple of weeks. So we have both been very, very busy, and we apologize for that. But we are going to talk about Manny Pacquiao's return to the ring. Is he coming to the ring full time or not? Right. We're gonna chop up Spence. Supposedly he was involved in another car accident. And so that is a topic of discussion. We are going to break down Anthony Joshua, that is, and his desire to supposedly buy Boxrec and Compubox. I'm not sure what that's about, but we're going to get into that. We're going to talk a little bit about the rumor of Gervonta Tank Davis and some interest in him possibly fighting Pacman, as well as my topic. This is something I really, really have wanted to talk about a long time, and I'm delighted that Harold's going to be here with me to chop this up. But I want to talk about the top five in the 135-pound, 40-pound division. These are the kings, right? The future kings. Who is going to be crowned at the 135/140 catch weight between Tank Davis, Lomachchenko, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, and Ryan Garcia? And if you have your picks up there, you have somebody that you think should be in this list, then what I'd like you to do is join in on the conversation. All you got to do is drop us a message. We'll make sure we put it up on the broadcast, and we'll be happy to bring you into the conversation at any time, for any reason, anytime during the program. And we are going to also just briefly talk a little bit about Regis Prograis versus Lopez, as well as a little boots discussion and some boo-boo Andrade. Talk a little bit about Andrade. And then, so we got lots of stuff to chop up. And actually, something I really, really want to talk about later on in the program is this news about Crawford and the glove fiasco. It's really heating up, and so there's lots to talk about there. And then, of course, Harold wants to chop up a little bit about Usyk and Fury, their upcoming fight date. We got so much stuff to talk about, and it's so exciting. So, Harold, Mr. Harold Hunt, talk to me, brother. How have you been?
Oh man, I've been great, man. I've been enjoying all the back and forth in our world of boxing. I went to the WBA convention,
Yeah,
and talked to a lot of people there, people that I worked with in the past, and new people, and this, that, and the other. And it was just good being around everyone who loves what you love.
Oh yeah, man. I can only imagine that was probably a really amazing opportunity to be around all those individuals and really talk boxing business, man. That's all boxing business. And I know that you guys tuning in, you're going to see the boxing breakdown in 2023 at a lot of these upcoming events. We will be there broadcasting and really chopping up what's going on at the different events. So expect some big stuff from the boxing breakdown, Mark Roxey and Harold Hunt, because we're going to rock it out in 2023. Yes, we are. We're coming for you. We're coming for you, people. All right. So let's get into this Manny Pacquiao business, man. Let's talk a little bit about Manny Pacquiao returning to the ring. What is going on with that, Harold? Is it full time?
Well, supposedly boxing is like a drug. You have to get your hit.
Oh,
and
shit.
He's out of it for a minute, and he wants to get his hit. It's just what it is. Whether your body says or your mind says, you just got to have the adulation.
Yeah.
So he's going to come back. Now, half of it is fueled because Floyd's running around doing these exhibitions,
right,
getting paid.
Yeah.
And, Pacquiao, always wakes up in the middle of the night knowing he's number 2 to Mayweather. So he is branching out on his own to do the same thing, but he wants to one-up Mayweather and say, but I'm fighting a real fight, and I'm fighting a real person. But he shouldn't be physically doing that. But his mind and his prestige and his cachet in life calls him to get out here and do this. So, yes, he's going to come back, and because of who he is, he may get some big fights, and he'll get beaten kind of badly.
Yeah,
it'd be like it would be like he beat De La Hoya pretty badly. He'll get a couple of those.
Really?
But he is coming back. Yes.
Well, that is fighting words, Harold, because as you know who one of my top favorite fighters of all time is, right? It's Manny Pacquiao. So, here's the thing: Manny Pacquiao's record, right? 62-8 with 2 draws, right? Yes. 62 wins, 8 losses, 2 draws, and the guy's knocked 39 of his opponents out. From General Santos City in the Philippines, Manny Pacquiao is, he's an icon in our sport, no doubt. And yeah, I think I would argue a little with you about him running in the shadow of Floyd. Yeah, he did lose to Floyd. But this is a fighter, a Hall of Fame fighter. Definitely Hall of Fame fighter. And he's fought everybody. And he can't get it out of his system. It's hard. It's hard to be recognized worldwide. Worldwide. He during his, prime, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, he couldn't go anywhere without creating an absolute mob of people. This was one of the best fighters of our generation, certainly, and maybe of all time. Right. So of course, everybody wants him to come out and do these exhibitions. And what can I say? He goes out there, he rocks his little, little yo-yo and little bouncy step. And, he's throwing, nice straight punch combinations, landing them, hitting people. He's like, okay, my body really knows how to do this. He's in the gym all the time. He never leaves the gym, even in retirement. He's in the gym all the time, quote unquote, from Manny Pacquiao. So, I'm not saying that. He said that. And, you can't blame him for wanting to come back and fight. I just hope that he, he doesn't do an Eric Morales. How Eric Morales left the sport. It was pretty pretty sad to watch, actually, when Eric Morales, I believe he fought Pacquiao. Pacquiao put him down on his tush, and it was really very, very hard to watch, So in this particular fight, I don't know who he's planning to fight. Do you know who he's planning to fight?
Oh, no. The world has to digest that he's coming back, but whoever he does fight, it's going to be controversy because whoever they give him first, they're going to say this, that, and the other. He's old, or he needs to tune up, or this, that, and the other. They throw him in with a big fight. They say he's just a cash cow and make the money, and the other guy's going to win and all that. So It's going to be tedious either way it goes.
Yeah.
But the Morales is similar to how he beat De La Hoya too, very badly.
Oh, I mean that fight. Well, first of all, let's rewind all the way back to 2006, because that fight with Manny Pacquiao and Eric Morales took place in the Thomas Mack Center in Las Vegas, and he fought Eric Morales, and he stopped him in the third round. It was that was a WBC international super featherweight fight, and actually you might even know. Do you know this guy Robert JB Lenhart? He was a supervisor for that fight. Do you know him?
No, I don't.
You don't? Okay. Yeah, but this guy. So anyway, the point is that that was devastating, especially for Mexican fans who idolize Eric Morales, and certainly that was a really hard way to watch him. Another Hall of Famer go out on his career. So I just hope that Manny Pacquiao's fate, if you will, won't be put in, the hands of, I don't know, another 147 pounder right now at 147 pounds, there's, Keith Thurman is number one. Errol Spence. I know there's talk of him wanting to fight Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. I don't even get that. Virgil Ortiz is there. Oh my God. Jaron Ennis is there. There's too many Cody Crowley's there. These are Abel Ramos is there. Mario Barrios, I think that would be a good, I think Pacquiao would do pretty good there. But, there's some beasts in that division right now. There's some really, really good fighters in the top 10. Of course, David Avanasian, the one who just fought Terence Crawford, which we'll get into a little bit later. But yeah, 147 is lit right now. So I don't know who Pacquiao's going to fight, but you know what? If he fights up here, I want to go see him, man. I love Manny Pacquiao. Shout out Manny Pacquiao.
You are always of reason. What reason? You are reason. Bump reason. This is what's going to happen. But we gotta throw out both sides.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, cool. What's next, Mark?
All right, man. Yeah. So thank you for that. Manny Pacquiao. Yeah, we love Pacquiao. All right. So let's get into this Anthony Joshua news. Talk to me about the Anthony Joshua. What's going on with that, Harold?
Oh, well, he's just looking to, De La Hoya bought Ring Magazine, and he bought another boxing entity that does something. He owns two of them. So Joshua was just following his lead, or whoever other fighters have bought stuff. So he's going to buy Compubox, which is the Bible which is the standard of punch counting or whatever. They got the good contracts with the CBS and ABC. Everybody else, they're doing very well. And then you've got, of course, Boxrec, which is the Bible of our business. So he's looking to buy both of those. But Compubox said, nope, we're not selling. We're flattered, but we're not selling. So we have yet to see if Boxrec will sell, and they're overseas. So. And he's over there, so we really don't know. But he was actively, his lawyers seeking those two entities.
Wow. What do you think he's going to do with Boxrec and Compubox? Compubox I can kind of understand because that's a proprietary software that kind of works within the boxing industry and counts punches and this kind of business. But I'm not sure what he would do with Boxrec. Like, maybe he would erase his 3 losses. I don't know.
Well, that would definitely be an option that he could do because it's unregulated. And if he's the owner, he can have it portray whatever he wants. But I would think he would just purchase it and just to have a hand on what's going on in the boxing industry. Yeah. Maybe he can attach to some kind of financial piece that generates income for him. I don't really know what his thought process is on that. But if he owns it, that's fine. I mean, Shaq owns everything related to Marilyn Monroe. Any money that her name makes in this world forever will go to Shaq's pocket, Shaquille O'Neal's pocket. So things like that happen. So he's just looking to do that kind of thing.
Right. Just trying to make a little extra shackles here and there, right? You can't begrudge him. I think it's interesting how, some of these guys, these high profile boxing guys are looking to buy some of the entities that work on the periphery of the sport. Very, very interesting to me. That might be a whole show coming up in the new year, man. We might do a whole show on, business ventures for,
in
boxing. Here, the name of the show would be like, hey, how to make a lot of money in boxing with boxing.
You tell me what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I think everybody would tune in for that one for sure. So Anthony Joshua, man, he's 24-3. He's got 22 wins by KO. He's only been KO'd once. Only has 3 losses. Where does he go?
Wilder would be a good fight for him.
You think they'll make that fight?
But I don't know. You just asked me what I would love to see that fight.
Yeah. Hey, if you guys,
it wouldn't last long, but the hype before it would be more exciting than the actual fight.
Yeah.
Because if Deontay touches him, he's out. But the run up, the press conferences, the back and forth, the jockeying with the contracts and the money and the venue and the talk back and forth, that'll be worth that's going to be great. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm for that, for sure. So, okay, good. So we kind of did this Joshua thing. Now let's move on, man. Let's talk a little bit about Gervonta Tank Davis, who is apparently, according to sources, rumored to want to fight Manny Pacquiao, which we just talked about earlier on in the program.
Yeah, there's speculation that if Manny comes back, him being a huge draw, as you said earlier, he has a whole country behind him and the Asian community behind him that would drop that money. Then Tank is huge here in America, and he seemed to have crossed every type of boundary as far as older people, younger people, all the things going on with the different sects of people. So he's very popular also. So between the two, they can get a good bag. They can do very well financially.
That would be a big money fight.
Yeah, so that is the possibility, and that's another reason why Pacquiao is interested in doing whatever. So that's what that is.
I like that. I like that fight actually, Harold. I like that fight because I think that particular fight would be a very, very fan friendly fight. Could possibly get candidate for fight of the year. The way that those two individuals fight, that could be an absolutely amazing barn burner of a fight. And, I would not discount Manny Pacquiao at all in that fight. I've seen him fight, some pretty big monsters in the division, and he's able to, I just don't know. You think
Mark, you're killing me.
You think he could get down?
You're killing me. You're killing me, Mark. You're killing me.
I know. Because you want to just go off with this thing about how Tank Davis. You know what? Okay, everybody. Listen. Listen. I know Tank Davis is the truth. I know Tank Davis can smash everybody, but people, you have to have hope. You have to have more hope than just. You can't just go with who you think. Like, you have to go deeper.
My argument isn't of Tank. I have another argument that's going to discount Pacquiao's situation.
All right.
Do you care to hear it?
Yeah, man.
Father Time is unbeaten.
Oh, here we go with the Father Time.
You talk about, I saw him do this, I saw him do that. And of course, yes, of course, he had all that. But that was another time, and his body was different. Now his body is what it is. If you look at the last fights, you understand what I'm saying. No matter how the stardom in your eyes, don't let it blind you, because it's blinding you right now. It'll be a good fight between him and Tank. No, it won't. No, it won't. No, it won't. It was back
by the light. Remember that song?
Yes. I think it was Fleetwood Mac. I think.
Yes. Blinded by the light.
But
something like that.
That's what I see. So I see maybe 3 rounds and it's done.
Yeah.
It's done. He just simply cannot move with that guy. He just doesn't have it. He'll have it for 2 or 3 rounds. You know how it goes, Mark. You're young. I mean, you've got your skills, and all of a sudden your body says, "Oh, I can't sustain this."
Where's my Manny Pacquiao fans? Where are you people? Come on. Get on the podcast and put your comments in there. You can't let Harold just go off like this on, dissing Manny Pacquiao. Come on, Manny Pacquiao. Yes, he's in retirement. Yes, he's the older GOAT. Yes, but Manny Pacquiao can he have a Rocky moment? Can't Manny Pacquiao have a Rocky moment in this fight with Gervonta Davis? Or do you just
had it already?
All right,
he had it against Thurman. That was his Rocky moment. That was it. That was it.
Wow. Man.
He should have been calling Adrian, because that was it, dog.
Wow.
Adrian.
Listen, man. Listen, everyone. You are listening to the Boxing Breakdown, the holiday edition. We are delighted you are with us. But check this out. Manny Pacquiao has a chance to get the biggest present of his life in beating Gervonta Davis. It can happen, people. Come on. Harold's not happy right now. All right, Harold.
I'm about ready to throw up with that music.
I had to do it. I had to do that. I had to do that to you.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on.
Your stance I have mine. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on, man. Let's get... All right. This is serious talk now. All right, people, we're going to get into some serious discussion. We want to know your top 5. The top 5. Who are the top 5 135 pound / 140 pound fighters? Who are they? Who are going to be? Who's the king? Who? The lightweight division, 135, and we're going to have to mix up these divisions because these guys are bouncing back and forth, and they're going to ultimately fight at catch weights or whatever they fight at. It doesn't matter. They're going to be mega fights. So we're going to include the super lightweight or the junior welterweight division, 140 pound weight division, as well as the lightweight 135 pound division. And so I want to know from you, who do you believe are the best 5 fighters in the 135, 140 pound division, the 5 kings? Now we know that if you celebrate the holiday, if you celebrate Christmas, right, then there are 3 kings. There are only 3 kings, right? So the question becomes, who will be the last standing 3 kings? So Harold, talk to me. Who do you have as your top 5 lightweight fighters?
Well, I'm going to say who they are, and I'll give a quick reason why I think they're the top.
Yeah.
And I'll move to the next.
Go ahead.
Gervonta Tank Davis. Because I'm a financial guy initially, he sells the tickets. He brings the movie stars out. He brings the politicians out. He brings the gangsters out.
Yeah.
He brings everybody out.
He does that.
and that is a beautiful thing. As far as the ring is concerned, he gets hit just enough to get people's attention that he will be in a back and forth fight.
Right.
Shakur Stevenson, his skill set is really, really good to the point you have to be somewhat educated in boxing to appreciate that he doesn't get hit. Now, he can move up to number one in my eyes if he starts knocking people out like Tank knocks him out. Once he starts knocking them out like that, the people who love knockouts will tune in, and then they'll recognize how he doesn't get hit.
Right.
So the doesn't get hit people will already love him, but then the knockout people will really love him because he will knock people out. Devin Haney, he gets hit a lot, not a lot, but enough to think that he will be in the back and forth fight. So he's exciting. As of yet, he hasn't shown me where he can just take you out. He hasn't taken anybody just out.
Right.
But he's fun to watch, but it doesn't end it as quickly as Tank or Stevenson. Lomo, he's technically good, and he was taking people out too initially, but now he hasn't done so. So a couple heavy knockouts can move him back up, in my eyes. Ryan Garcia, I guess I'm riding the hype train too. I've looked at his last fights; they were great. But I haven't seen anything lately. And just because everyone's speaking of these 5, they include him.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I think your list is valid. I think it's a valid list. I think it's very, very interesting. I'll give you my top 5 list if you guys are watching on YouTube, if you're watching the program now, or you're tuning into it after we actually broadcast. Here's my top 5, which is not unlike Harold's top 5. Actually, my top 5 is pretty much almost identical with one exception. Okay, so I've got Gervonta Davis, of course, power puncher. Okay, yes, I love Manny Pacquiao. I would love to see Manny Pacquiao have a Rocky moment, but let's just get real here, okay? Gervonta Davis is the truth, okay? And if you guys were making fun of me earlier in the program because I had to give Pacman some love, that's fine. All right. But the truth is, Gervonta Davis is going to be my number 1 pick. And for obvious reasons, he's got power in both hands. He's southpaw. He's got great footwork, brilliant reflexes. And I just think that he's going to, at the end of the day, end up on top. Shakur Stevenson, number 2. Great fighter, another southpaw. Could end up being one of the top 3 kings standing at the end. Yes. Shakur Stevenson. Yes. From New Jersey, shout out New Jersey LBC. We love Shakur Stevenson here in New Jersey. And he's technically proficient, super skillful at controlling distance, managing aggressive fighters. He's got power in both hands, although he does not have, he hasn't yet demonstrated, superior knockout power such as Gervonta Davis, but he's a brilliant fighter. Great body work, great combinations, beautiful reflexes. So I'm going to put him right there at number 2. And then, I'm actually going to go and say that Vasily Lomachchenko, don't sleep on Vasily Lomachchenko, because I do believe that Vasily Lomachchenko has probably the most superior boxing skill, technical skill. And although he's had some bad performances and some really terrible nights, I do believe that if Vasily he's actually probably the oldest of all of these fighters that we're talking about, but I do believe that if he has one of those Vasily Lomachchenko, starstruck nights, he could pull off a win over Shakur and perhaps Gervonta Davis, pending having one of his, excellent performances, sharp footwork, and he's back to what he was prior to the Teofimo fight. So that being said, I would, I don't really know between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. I think Ryan Garcia is probably going to be number 5, and number 4 would be Devin Haney. Those two fighters are very similar. I know you guys who love Devin Haney are going to give me some crap about this right now, because you probably will put Devin Haney up there right by Shakur, maybe even in front of Shakur. And I understand the reasons why you would want to do that. Excellent boxer. I just think he can't deal with the pressure. I think he kind of folds under pressure. His performances seem a little bit more lackluster under pressure. And so Harold, top 5, those are my top 5. Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Vasily Lomachchenko, Devin Haney, and Ryan Garcia. Merry Christmas to you all. What you got, Harold?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Hey, I got to give it to you. You will give the mature fighter an opportunity to be successful again. You're looking for these starstruck nights where you revisit your youth. That's your thing, obviously. But hey, I think we're almost done.
Yeah.
But we'll just go from there.
Yeah, well, it's not so much, I boxing has a tendency to really throw away older fighters, but there are a handful of very, very good fighters who fought, into their 40s, into their 50s, that just dominated the division that they fought in. And so I don't believe age. Father Time will catch you, and you can see it in people in various fighters' skill sets. Certainly, when you're working with a fighter, you can always tell where they are based on their age, whether they've truly developed that punch power. But here's the thing, when it comes down to skill sets as a trainer, what we know is that, timing is really important, right? And precision beats power all the time, right? So when I look at these matchups, I'm looking at precision versus power. Yeah, power is great. It's wonderful to have power. It's great to be able to just drop somebody with one punch, a la, Tank Davis. Got it. Yeah. But what beats that is precision. So if you have a fighter who has, and Vasily Lomachchenko is he's a fighter that when you look in a dictionary under precision, he's a precision boxer. So, I'm looking at precision versus power, and I'm looking at timing versus speed. So I don't know
I go along with that.
Yeah, I mean, some fighters are really, really fast. Hence Shakur Stevenson. Like you put a Shakur Stevenson up against a Vasily Lomachchenko, who's faster? Probably Shakur. However, what we have to bring into the equation, we have to bring in timing, right? So timing plays an important role. Look at. Let's go back to Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez. In that fight, Manny Pacquiao had the speed differential. He had the speed against, Juan Manuel Marquez. He did. But Juan Manuel Marquez had the timing, and he was able to utilize that timing to literally shock the world with a, one punch knockout that reverberated around the world. So,
yes. Now, I see your point on that.
Yeah.
But the older fighters who last have the good fundamentals.
Yes.
So as they get into their 40s or 30s, late 30s, if they have the good fundamentals, they can stay in there. Got that. I get that. A lot of these fighters that we're liking now, they don't have that. They're not going to last.
Yeah.
Okay. So I get that point. As far as the time is concerned, I agree with you. Hey, Tyson had the shorter jab. He always out-jabbed everybody he fought.
Right.
They were always heavier than he was, but it was about the timing. I get that. The Marquez thing, absolutely, that was beautiful. But he hit him with those kind of punches all 3 fights. This one, he was able to really land it to the point where, he could put him out. But he hit him with that same punch, Marquez, several times in all those fights.
Yeah.
That same kind of delivery. But this time it just landed nicer. So he saw it. It wasn't like something new. He just really put it together on that shot.
Right.
But hey, as you said, you're a trainer, you see all that. I like timing too. But I just think that sometimes, the older fighters who don't have that fundamentals are vulnerable to be beaten somewhat soundly if they continue.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we we watch all kinds of boxing matches, and to be honest, like just the last 30 years, I mean, we've seen everything. I've seen everything happen in that ring. I've seen fighters who, don't even stand a chance come off with a victory. And you see all kinds of stuff. That's the beauty about our sport. It's just so unpredictable. You cannot just go with what we know, because we only know what we know until the fight happens. And there's so many factors into it, what determines who wins and who loses. And one of them is self-belief. And Manny Pacquiao, man, the one thing about him, this guy, what he's been able to do. Look, I don't want to go back to Manny Pacquiao, but you get the point. Everybody can have a rocky moment. Certainly, Manny Pacquiao, if he believes in himself enough to come back, time will tell whether or not he has that. And, so anyway, we could do this all day long, Harold. You know that. Let's push this on, man. Let's get into Regis Prograis. Who's he fighting, Harold?
Well, we don't know if he's fighting anyone in particular. He has an opportunity to, maybe he'll get Lopez, or maybe he won't get Lopez. I don't think Lopez should fight him, because Lopez could lose that fight to Prograis, who's on a roll right now.
Right.
And he is so much better mentally than Lopez is right now. And
wow,
his skill set is really good anyway. And when he did lose the fight, he was over in somebody else's territory, someone else's country.
Yeah.
And you know how that goes. But I did have it a draw or him losing, so I'll leave it at that. But Regis, I like Regis in that fight quite a bit, only because Lopez is somewhat mentally unstable right now, and in my opinion, he's just not getting the correct instructions in the fight, during the fight. There's no
who are you talking about?
Lopez.
Really?
Yes. Now, of course, I've touched a nerve with the Pacquiao thing, because you're ready to shoot me in the head over Pacquiao. And Lopez is your boy, so I get that. However, I spent a little time with Shakur Hill, the trainer, this past week, and we talked about his training and what Stewart, his uncle, taught him, and when he taught him, and what he taught him, and all the strategy he uses as a trainer to be successful. And one of the things he said was what I just said earlier. So I just have a different view of it, and I see it differently. But I can only look at it from my standpoint. I'm just a layman. I'm just a fan. I'm not in the ring, doing what you do. So my opinion is just on the outside.
Yeah. Well, you know what I will say. There's a couple of things I just want to say about Regis Prograis. So a lot of, this is not a fighter that you hear a lot about, or you actually have a lot of opportunities to see in the ring. All right. He did fight in November. Yes, he did. He fought Jose Zapata in November. And prior to that, he fought in, I think, March. He fought against Tyrone McKenna, Ivan Redback, Josh Taylor. He's had some very, very interesting fights. I believe he's very underrated. He's a very underrated fighter. And folks should be looking out for Regis Prograis in 2023, because I do think that there's going to be some noise made by him in the coming year. He's currently ranked by the WBC ranked number 2. As far as the latest rankings, I can see he's number 2. He's not, I don't think he's ranked by the WBA though. You might know better, but I don't believe, he's even in the rankings, but he is in the rankings for the WBC as number 2. So that, now Teofimo Lopez is ranked number 4. And just to your comments about Teofimo, Okay. I do not believe that your comments were correct about him receiving bad advice in the corner. I don't. I think Harold in the last.
I did not say bad.
Okay.
It was not derogatory.
Okay. What did you say?
Lack of.
Okay. I got that.
Yes.
So I actually, with all due respect, I will not, I felt like in the last fight, his pops gave him excellent advice. I just don't think that Teofimo actually executed the advice that was given. But, I think it's a continuity issue as far as I'm concerned, and again, with all due respect, I love the team. The team is, they're such a positive family and team. And so, yeah, I do think they're great people. But at the end of the day, as far as boxing is concerned, what is so is what's so, right? And Teofimo, if you're listening to the broadcast, the one thing I will say is that continuity in training and consistency in training is the most important thing. So having good performance, bad performance, good performance, bad performance, whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, it comes down to obviously your team and your execution of what's being done in camp. So that's like a whole podcast. And I want to have you on the podcast, Mr. Lopez, senior and junior, to actually chop this up. But if you guys would be willing to do that, I would love to have that happen. Someone's calling
Mark,
me now.
You are in your feelings today, boy.
Yeah, man.
You hear me?
Yeah, bro. That's what it's about. That's what it's about, man. So anyway, my point is, you can't bring up Teofimo Lopez we can't just, he's a major, fixture in the sport right now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I'm not disparaging him. I'm not, but I'm still standing on the area that I see the boxing world in.
Yeah.
That's my only reference.
Right.
Of course, you have a viewpoint of it. Yes, he sells the tickets. Yes, he's exciting to watch because he just goes out after it. He doesn't really use some of the skills. He just, I'm gonna beat you up just because the situation. So he's exciting to watch. The whole thing, his whole genre is just exciting. He has to be there. He has to be in these big fights. We need him, no doubt about it. I'm not saying for him to go away. I'm just saying the dynamic of what he does is so up and down and around and all of that. It's just it's going to create the eyeballs and the buzz and the interest.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, he's a must-see TV for sure. When Teofimo fights, there's always something. You can always expect something, But this is a guy, 18-1. His record's 18-1. He's got 13 big wins by KO. And he's faced some really, really good fighters. I mean, Sandor Martin most recently, right? Which was, a great fighter. It wasn't like Sandor Martin was just a pushover. People just don't know him. And people think because they don't know you, somehow you're any less than, this is a great... The sport of boxing, man, people spend their entire lives from 3 years old in the gym training for the moment they have. So, of course, Sandor Martin, put on an absolutely impeccable performance. He had to.
Very well.
Yeah.
He had so many things that he was doing right. I mean, he fought within his style and he did really well. He just was in a situation where, the knockdown didn't do what he thought he was going to do, and the judges did whatever. And being a judge myself, I kind of be cool with that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I just know for me, it's just interesting how a lot of the people that Teofimo, a lot of the people that they pick from him come from overseas, like Nakatani, for example. Nakatani gave Lomachenko, gave Teofimo a very, very difficult fight. Nakatani, at the time, he was virtually unknown here. I mean, people in the industry knew who he was, but he wasn't like main must-see TV. And then same thing with Richard Comey. Richard Comey, although Richard didn't give him much of a fight, he got TKO'd in the second round. Again, this is a fighter who comes from another country. Then you got Vasily Lomachenko, right? From another country. George Kambosos from Australia. Pedro Campos, from although he did very well against Pedro Campos, and then Sandor Martin. These guys they're not I don't know. I don't know.
Household names in America.
No,
yes.
they're
Got
not.
that.
But you got to be very careful because,
Yes.
you know, of course,
Their skill set is high. Yes.
Yeah, these guys are coming overseas. They're coming to win. They're not coming to lay down. So he's had a very active 18 fight. You know, the 18 fights that he's had. Excuse me, 19 fights that he's had. He's been tested. You know, he hasn't, and you know, he's with Top Rank. Top Rank is not, you know. Top Rank will put him in with some tough guys. They have to make sure they've got the right guy. You know,
his style is so reckless.
Yeah,
it's reckless. It's reckless. It's unregulated. It's polished but not polished. It's all out there. There's no congruency in it. I don't feel that, but it's exciting as heck. But that's just what I see. That's just you know, this is what I see.
So is this fight is not happening? I mean, Teofimo's not fighting Regis Prograis, but you're just suggesting that it would be a good fight.
Regis is very technical, and he'll take you out.
Yeah, he's good, very
and
good.
Lopez, to me, he's going to come until you show weakness, and he's going to jump on you. So that would be a good fight if they were providing everyone is, you know, on board mentally and emotionally and physically.
Right. Yeah. No, I get that. All right.
I can't say any more than that.
No,
about those two.
No, but that was plenty, man. That was totally plenty. Let me ask you a question, Harold. Talk to me about what you know about this rumor, right? About Spence, or actually it's not a rumor, it's factual, right? So Spence was involved in another car accident?
Yes.
Talk to me.
Well, it was not his fault, or he did nothing incorrect. He was simply traveling, and appears that a 14-year-old boy stole his parents' car because he wanted to drive. So he stole his parents' car, and he was driving. And fate would have it that he ran into Spence.
Wow.
Spence wasn't hurt. The kid wasn't hurt. All of that.
Yeah.
But Spence noticed some soreness and bruising and whatever. And he said on national TV that he doesn't look to fight until May.
Wow.
But the wreck had nothing to do with him. I mean, other than he was hit, but the 14-year-old boy had to answer to his parents and the police and all that for, you know, stealing the family car for a ride.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, hopefully everything works out for Spence, but I mean, we're not going to get to see him in the ring until May.
Yes, he said that.
That sucks. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. So folks, you heard it here on the Boxing Breakdown. You will not see Spence in the ring until May. Well, I know you're as sad as I am, probably, or more, but that's what it is. And let's chop up a little Usyk versus Fury.
Yes.
Tell me.
March 10th is the first date, but they've agreed to everything.
Really?
Yes. So we're looking at March 10th is the first date they want to do, and there'll be subsequent dates after that. But preliminary,
right.
Mark, say the word.
Preliminarily.
They're looking at that date, March 10th. So Usyk said, "Hey, let's fight." Fury said, "Well, okay, let's do that." Beginning of the first quarter. So supposedly it's a done deal on their part. They're just jockeying for venue and network, and of course Fury's they're gonna give him a country in payment because he's gonna want, you know, quite a large sum. So that's what it is.
Yeah, well, he's, you know, right now WBC World Heavyweight Champion. He's 33-0 with one draw. right? 24 big wins by KO. He's been in most recently with Derek Chisora. He TKO'd Chisora in the 10th round. That was an interesting fight. I think every time you see him, if you're tactical about this, like I am, I'd love to, break down his fights because you can see opportunities of how he can be beaten. And at the same time, you can see why he's on top, but I definitely can see some holes in his game, that can really be, which I will not speak about unless you want to hire me to do that. If you hire me, I will speak about those holes. And I am available for hire, by the way, for those of you listening in on the Boxing Breakdown. I am available for hire. Obviously Harold is as well. Harold is available as a judge, a supervisor, pretty much a inspector and a commentator. So if you need any of those, you know where to find him. Just hit us up, right? And for me, y'all already know I'm a man of lots of talents. So you are, and a master of them all. I don't play unless I can master. That's right. Right. So we're not going with that, jack of all trades, master of none. No, I'm a master of everything I put my hands on, because that's what we do at the Boxing Breakdown. Right, Harold?
Absolutely.
Yes, man. So anyway, all right. So I'm looking forward to that fight in May with Joshua and Usyk and Fury. If that goes down, that'll be fantastic. I mean, lots can happen from now until then in the world of boxing. We all know that. So let's end out the program here tonight by talking a little bit about the Terence Crawford versus David Avanaison on December 10th. Took place in Omaha, Nebraska. And there was a huge issue about the gloves that were used in the fight. Harold, what's up?
Well, as the world may know, the boxing world may know, Crawford had his fight on Black Prime, another new entity in the world of boxing. And during the fight, as everyone knows, the gloves came apart in certain areas. They took it over to the referee. The referee took it to the commission. The commission said continue with the fight because the gloves were split, but not badly enough for them to stop the fight and change the gloves. He went out that subsequent round and knocked the gentleman out. Mark, from there, on my side, being, a member of some of these boxing commissions and know all the commissioners and this, that, and the other, they're saying everything was done properly by the official. So that's as far as I knew about it. Mark, you have come up with some information that I didn't know. I didn't know about some of the other things that are taking place after the fact. But on the commission side, everything was done properly. The referee, Sparkly, is a friend of mine. I know her. We just spoke yesterday, day before yesterday, or what have you. Yeah. So it's all finished on our side. Mark, please let us know about what's happened after that.
Well, I mean, right now, there's a huge investigation going into this, the fiasco with the gloves. But, as you can see here, this is kind of some of the news that's going out there. And I mean, if you're watching the news and you're following the feeds, you can kind of see what people are purporting, right? So you've got a situation here where if you look at the screen, right, you can see on the left, on your left, you've got a pair of gloves here, and you can see how these gloves, they don't look new. These gloves look like they were used in the gym for, I don't know, it just seems odd to me, right? Like how does something like this happen? And then here you have, there's Sparkle Lee on the left, but if you go into the gloves, you can see the gloves look like they're just breaking apart. And I don't know what to make of this. I do not know what to make of this. I really don't. But the one thing I will say is, there's all kinds of news on the feed, right? And one of them is that one of the pieces of news, Harold, is that Everlast is involved in this, right? So can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, Everlast is involved in this, and the question is, like, they're willing to take full responsibility for what happened to the gloves.
Yes, they are.
And I'm not sure. Are they? I just don't know. But all I know is that what's shocking about it is Terence Crawford faces investigation for illegally switching the gloves in the Avaniason fight. That's what's come out. There's going to be lots of news about this in the coming weeks. I don't know if it's true. I know that we all in the boxing community have a way of just jumping to conclusions about what happens, and we sensationalize it. And I really get that. We're just reporting the news. I don't know. I'm following the news just like everybody else is following the news. And it's very, very interesting stuff that's come out. And I sure hope that Terence Crawford has not been involved in some sort of glove switch or, some weirdness,
Hopefully that's the case. And there's a reason for everything. There's, one side, the second side, and the truth. So
yeah, there's always three. Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, we're all, journalists and reporters, if you will, and podcasters and writers. And what happens is that, we write what we know, we write what we hear, we write what the story is, but with all due respect, I think the best thing to do is just sit back and let's see what happens. Terence Crawford is, an absolutely brilliant fighter. And, we haven't seen the best of him. He's been embroiled in tons of recent news, and controversy around his management and not his management, more of his promotion. But, the guy, we need to see Terence Crawford do his thing against the top in the division. We need to see him fight. I just, if anything, I'm looking forward to in 2023 is I'm looking forward to, the best fighting the best and the boxing fans getting what they deserve, which is in compelling, competitive, provocative fights. That's what we want in 2023, right?
Yes, we do. And I think the card coming up here in February, the Tank card, has some really good fights on there. Just a matter of factly, Tank's fighting the guy who beat Colbert and who beat the champion, and he's moving up in weight, so he'll have to cut weight. And Tank is coming down to really fight somebody who's really going to be there to win the fight. So that's an excellent matchup. Then you've got Boots fighting a really credible guy who could really expose him. And if he's able to last, he has a possibility to win on points, And then you've got Ellis. He's fighting a really great guy who could possibly upset him. So going forward, or the cards that we see going forward, or at least this first card, is a precursor to what you're saying, a good 23 where they're going to match people up, pound for pound. Yeah. And, the Ryan fight is good. Of course, Crawford is maligned right now, but he is on track to fight Spence this year, 23. Then you've got, as you just said, Usyk and Fury, and we have Wilder, who's been training. He's been in training for the past month or so. So he's going to fight someone. We don't know exactly who it is. So, everything's moving up. And the 147 welterweight is the best division in boxing, right? But it's not the 135 as we spoke of earlier.
Oh, my gosh. 135 is fire. It's fire, man. 135 is great. I wish Teofimo never left the 135. I know he couldn't do it. He couldn't stuff his body down in there. But boy, that would have been even better if they were all just sitting right in there at 135. And by the way, to all you promoters out there, Merry Christmas. But check this out. You got to make these fights happen sooner than later. you're going to miss the boat on this. You got to make these fights happen. The 5 kings have to face off in 2023. That's all I want for Christmas is the 5 kings fighting.
Now, of course, political part of that we're not addressing here, but that is a huge factor in how all of that works.
Yeah. Well, Harold, man, we're right around 1 hour, man. And what I'd like to do is finish up with the boxing schedule, if that's okay with you. So let's see what we got here, man. We got a lot of good stuff happening. Let's see what we can do here musically. Let's see. Which one of these fights this year are going to end? Which one of these fights, Harold, are going to end in night-night? Do you know?
Well, let's see. What are they?
I don't know, but you know what? Silent night, baby. So, Kazuko Iko versus Joshua Franco. That fight's going to happen on January 6th. We got Masataki Taniguchi versus Melvin Jerusalem. On January 7th, we got Gervonta Davis versus Hector Luis Garcia. That's on Showtime. Check your local listings. January 14th, we've got Ifa Ajuba versus Oscar Rivas. That's going to be on ESPN. Check it out. That's at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino in Verona, New York. Yeah. And then we got Chris Eubanks versus Liam Smith on January 21st, Sky Sports. And that's at the AO Arena in Manchester. Yes, that's going to be a great fight. And then January 27th, we got Sarhiha Bachuka versus Nathaniel Gilmore. That's UFC Fight Pass. So that's going to be interesting. We got January 28th, Arthur Beterbiev versus Anthony Yard. That's one of I'm looking forward to that in January. That is on BT Sports and ESPN, and that's at the OVO Arena in Wembley. So we've also got Jermell Charlo versus Tim Tszyu. That's going to be on Showtime at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, Nevada. Don't miss that. That's also on January 28th. We've got Emmanuel Navarrete versus Liam Wilson on February 3rd. That's on ESPN. That's the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona. And then February 9th, Jean Pascal versus Michael Ephrat. That's going to be on Fight TV. And then Adrian Broner, the Broner, is back in the ring. He's going to be fighting Ivan Redback, and that's going to be on BLK Prime at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, people. That's what's happening in January and February, and I'm sure there's more boxing in your local area, so check your local listings for whatever's coming up. On behalf of Harold Hunt, I am Mark Roxey, and we thank you for being with us on the Boxing Breakdown. Peace, love, Happy New Year, and we will see you on the next edition of the Boxing Breakdown.
Fight fans, join host Mark Roxey and special guests as they break down all aspects of the boxing world, including news, business, management, training, promotions, fan reactions, upcoming events, matchups, future boxing stars, title fights, state of the boxing world, and all the stuff you don't see when you watch boxing. This podcast is released each week on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live streamed on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook Live. It's the Boxing Breakdown, hosted by Mark Roxey.